Welcome back to Turn Down for What, your source for EV news and updates. Like and subscribe for more content like this episode. Let's dive on in.
Welcome back to Turn Down for What. It's another night.
Another evening episode.
There we go. It's not nighttime where you're at, but nighttime where I'm at. We are just crazy busy, and we have had, once again, several people call us out on X and other platforms saying, where's Turn Down for What? I actually set up a Zoom call and talked with one of our listeners because they cared so much that they're like, can I help you with Power Up so you can film more Turn Down for What? And, I appreciate the listener base that follows Turn Down for What. And I want to take just a brief moment to explain a little bit of why we've been less consistent recently in posting, if I have that liberty to. Chris lives in the West Coast, works on the West Coast, has kids, and has a full-time job. I live on the East Coast and have kids that go to school and a full-time job, actually probably more than a full-time job. And so coordinating schedules where we can bring on the wonderful Chris Bow and Josh and Jesse, with Jesse and I doing Power Up and being just crazy busy, and Chris being West Coast time zones and everything. It's like Chris has to 5 a.m. and film, or I have to get up, or I have to get on at 9 p.m., which is what I'm doing right now because I'm driving home from a business meeting today. I have to get up at 5 p.m. or 9 p.m. and film an episode. That's the only time that we have in the week to film. And so it's been, since school started, really hectic in Power Up, and Chris's schedule's really hectic, so it's just been a lot more difficult to film podcasts. So we love our entire audience, and we're going to figure out a route with Tech Charge and with Turn Down for What episodes to keep content coming, because we love producing content. But bear with us in this season, because running a CPO, having kids and a family, and coordinating with the time zones with Chris and his busy life just makes it difficult for us as a team that we've been doing so well for 2 years to be consistent on posting. So we will post as frequently as we can. It may not be all three of us all the time, but Tech Charge is going to keep going, and our main episodes will keep going. It just might be a little bit more sporadic until we get kind of a new routine set. So just wanted to lay the groundwork for all the listeners that are tuning in and what's happening with Turn Down for What. We still here. We still want to provide those updates, but it's just been a crazy season. So.
Yeah, and this time of year, football season kicks off, so we're in full launch with the 49ers, and so that adds that kind of component to it for myself. We have moved the Tech Charge podcast from Thursday nights to Wednesday nights to kind of avoid Thursday night football. And then, with the other part, for Josh, is NEVI funding has been restored. So some good, exciting things have started to come back onto Josh and Jesse's plate as well, that they have got to urgently get back on track. Paperwork has to be filled. Government has to government. And so they've been in a rush to kind of get all that stuff going. So we've tried to kick off today's episode by bringing in some people that also know the fun of trying to keep a steady cadence and pace of podcasting, and the challenge that is when you're trying to also balance family life. And we thought, you know what, if we're going to get in here and publicly complain about woe is us podcast life, we're not going to get any sympathy from the audience. Let's bring on some sympathetic friends, Joel and Sebastian from the EV Geek Podcast, people that I have followed for a long time. And I got to first meet these fellas when I was coming across from Tennessee back to California. And they took the time to meet me out at Franklin's Charging. I always mess that up, by the way. It is Franklin or Franklin's. Either way, I'm going to screw this up. Franklin's. I knew. See, I had it right the first time. I should have trusted myself. Franklin's Charging, where I went by and charged up my Lightning. Awesome experience where I got to finally meet these guys. So thank you. First time on the show. Welcome, fellas.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Glad
You've
we
been
could
on
throw it
our
together.
podcast once or twice, so we're glad to finally return the favor.
Yeah, super, super cool to have you guys. Thanks for coming on and hanging out with us tonight. We have now all three time. Well, I guess we needed somebody from the Mountain Time Zone is what we needed to have done here because we've got the
Call up
West,
Ben
we've got the
Westby.
Central. Ben Westby, who is got some snow hitting up in Colorado. Ben, if you are on X, message me. I will send you a link just on general principle to get a fourth time zone in here. We will shoot you a link to join us just for the fun of it. So yeah, guys, thanks for joining us, man. I'd love to have you on the show. You've had some new exciting things, but before we get into the fun stuff you've been up to, because you guys got a unique experience that not everybody got to attend. What is that? I can't see it.
It's his official letter that was in our room. Our official.
Is it?
Can
Can I zoom in? Can I zoom in on that? How do I bring just you up? How fancy?
He's
can
gonna
I
he's
get?
gonna zoom in on it. He's gonna grab it for you. There you go.
Now I've got.
Oh, he framed it too. So
I messed up the. Wait a minute. Nope, that's me. That's not what I want either. How do I do this?
Sorry, I didn't
You're
mean to
doing
make
great,
this
Chris.
a thing.
We believe in you, Chris.
How
we're
many
getting there.
buttons can I press?
there we
Until-
go.
Hey, okay.
Me and Sebastian switch sides,
We
but that's
did
okay.
it.
So
Technology, man. How's this work?
technology's hard.
Can I move people around?
There
I
we
can
go. All right.
move-
Now
There
we're
we
back to
go.
it. Oh,
What happened?
I think I broke my frame. We're good.
Oh, I've ruined it. What if I do that? And then what if I move? Can I move you up? No.
no, just you. You can hold up to the camera. There we go.
There we go. Fun stuff.
All this over a postcard.
Over a
Almost
postcard.
I'm sorry, y'all.
Dude,
I
it's
didn't mean to sidetrack us. It's a cool postcard.
Welcome to LA, man.
Yeah.
This is super cool. Like there was only a few people that got the invite. And we want to hear all about the new 2026 Chevy Bolt. That was super cool. But before we do, teaser, you're supposed to tease these kind of things, keep people hooked, right? That's all the good podcasters do that.
Yep.
But before we hear that, I want to hear the origin story, guys, because you guys got together. The rumor has it at a strip club in Arkansas. I believe the Pink Pony Club song was based on your origin story.
No, that's where Sebastian wanted to dance when we went to LA. That's what he said.
Got
In
it.
the Waymo, he's like, I want to dance at the Pink Pony Club. And I was like, let's go to West Hollywood, see if we can find it. So yeah.
You're all
So-
fired.
Yes, yeah. It was no, it's from Arkansas, so it was a long dirt road. No, it's nothing like that. So yeah. So I got my EV 2021, I think. And Sebastian, when did you get your Bolt?
I got my Bolt in 2023. I had a Volt with a V
Yes.
in 2021.
So yes, I got mine. Picked it up in that time, St. Louis, and brought it back. And at that time, I was listening to EV Podcast just to know a lot about them. I was listening to Out of Spec, EV News Daily. There's listening to those all the time. And I thought, in 2022, we were coming out of COVID, and full out of COVID. I'm in education, so when it shut down, I pretty much got to stay at home. Sebastian probably got to stay at home a little bit too because he's in education, but not in the classroom perspective. He's in the tech side of it. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a podcast. You know what? I'm going to do one. So I decided I was going to do a podcast. That was June 14th of 2022. And I did about 4 episodes, and I was like, nope, not doing it anymore. I got disgruntled. I'm like, oh, look at this. I'm getting 60 views, 80 views. I'm like, I'm done. Don't want to do it anymore. And also because of the way Arkansas is, there's not a lot of things to do to get EV content out here. I mean, it's not like, hey, we have 9 different types of EV charging companies out here. We're not flooded with EVs and we don't see them everywhere. It's Arkansas. I mean, literally, I think one year we had like 4,000 EV registration and that was it. So, yeah.
I live in East Tennessee, and we have the exact same origin story when it comes to
So
that.
I'm like, it's not a big deal out here. And at that time, I met a local guy here. His name is Colin, and actually, he sells used EVs here in North Little Rock, Arkansas, at Evolve Auto. And just through the Tesla Owners Club, which I became a member of, and now I'm the president of, even though I don't own a Tesla, but yet I'm the president of the Tesla Owners Club. And just do different EV events. I met Sebastian. I think the first time I met Sebastian was at Franklin's. We had an event.
It was, yeah.
And some guy who's in the group with us says, "Hey man, we should start an EV club. I'm going to make you all the admins of it." I was like, okay, cool. So he created an EV group on Facebook and made me and Sebastian admins. And like a year later, he just kind of disappeared. He still has his EV, but we don't see him much anymore. So it's basically me and Sebastian running this. So I decided, hey, I don't like doing episodes by myself. I don't like talking into a camera by myself. So somewhere around, so this was almost 2 years later, May of 2024. So fast forward, started the podcast in June of 22. Fast forward to like May of 2024, still not doing video, just audio podcast because I didn't have the equipment or anything. Brought Sebastian on to talk about his Bolt. And actually at that time it was one of our better episodes. It had like 300 views. I'm like, oh, wow. So Sebastian's the one who did it for us. Yes. Got me out of the double digits. So that I was like, I like this. And Sebastian is kind of like, he is like the super nerd of the duo. Like for me, I got to look stuff up. You know, Sebastian will be like, hey, what's the battery size? And I'd be like, oh, it's 77.7 kilowatt. I'm like, let me Google it. I don't know. So it's good to have kind of his nerdy tech background of EVs to talk about. And I kind of like ran the thing. So it was nice. And we kind of, I don't think we've ever gotten to a fight. I don't think we've ever gotten to an argument. I mean, literally going on like almost 22 to 3 over 3 years now. And it just evolved from that where, we started doing car reviews, and our car reviews are interesting because we don't get press cars. No one's shipping cars to Little Rock, Arkansas to review. So what we did was, and kind of what I did was I just started reaching out to all of the dealer networks in Arkansas, emails, phone calls, text messages, and saying, hey, why don't you let us borrow EV to review? We'll review it, give you your name on it. And they slowly started saying yes. Because once we got into one car group, they would give us names for the other one. So if you get into this Subaru dealership, well, they own a Volvo, a Honda, we got other names. So then we just started doing the reviews. And then Sebastian, I'd say about a year ago, says, hey, let's do a weekly news episode. I'm like, that's fine. Great. So he kind of takes the lead on that and writes the scripts and comes up with the ideas for our weekly news episode. So the way our podcast usually runs, if it's perfect, is we have a review on Monday. Wednesday is what we call our hodgepodge episode. It could be like an interview with you. It could be like today we rode a Waymo while we were out there, which was pretty cool. Besides the fact of reeked of weed. Yeah, got a little contact high where we were riding around in it, but it was a great ride. So we filmed that and went to the Tesla diner, filmed the video there too while we were out in LA. So we had about 6 hours to kill before the event. So yeah, anything that I leave out, Sebastian, about kind of like the origins of the EV Geek podcast?
No, I mean, yeah. Basically what you said, and then it's just kind of grown from there.
It's just kind of grown from there. I mean, we had that one video, like we were chugging along, and we did a video like 5 EVs you shouldn't buy. And like, boom, within 3 days, kind of like your one video, 50,000 views within like a week. I'm like, whoa. So boom, monetized, boom, everything that happened with that one video that we've been working for just to that one video. So
yeah, and I mean, and really, honestly, we kind of speed ran that part. So, you and I both kind of started doing this May of last year.
Yeah.
And we were monetized by September.
Yeah, so it was quick. So like, yeah, he came in May,
and it was because of that one video.
Just that one video. I'm like, oh well, I think we'll get it by like August of 2023, maybe if we keep doing everything right. And then,
or no, that'd be 2025 because it was last year, 2024.
24, yeah. So I was like, maybe next year sometime. Then I got up one morning. I was like, Sebastian, did we have like 20,000 views on our video? He's like, nuh-uh. And I'm like, yeah. So we've already hit our subscribers and we've already hit our hours, and everything else is just like pure money now. So yeah. And
which was the harder to hit for you guys? Was it the hours? Because that's what it was for us. The hours.
Yes, it was the hours. We had the subscribers before. I think before that, Sebastian, we had the subscribers.
Because the subscriber number is pretty low. It's the needing the however many hours in 90 days.
I think it was 1,000 subscribers. The only thing required.
Yeah, I can bribe. I know 1,000 people I can bribe to join my podcast. So I mean.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
Give them
That's not what happened.
Give them some peppermint hippo dollars, and we could bribe. No, but the subscriber part was easy. I think we were like 1,500 or 1,600 when we got monetized. But yeah, so it was the hours that we need, and we were already up to like 2 or 3. We were almost halfway there. So I'm thinking we have another year, maybe 10, 12 months till we actually hit it if we keep going at the pace we are. Each video gets us 20 hours. Do the math. How many more videos we got to do to get there? So yeah. yeah, but it's been a great ride. I mean, we've got to meet great people like you, Patrick and Liv. It's just been a great ride. I'd say the best part about it is just the relationships and the connections that we have made during this process. So, yeah, that's how we got started. That's why we keep rolling with 150 episodes a year. So,
yeah, and shout out to Patrick and Liv. I've got their Mach-E vlog from
and yours is on the table behind me, Chris. I haven't sent it yet, but it's done and I haven't sent it yet. So
I wore this to guilt trip you.
You should have, yes.
Into not having. I was like, we talked about.
Hold on. What? Now you say that. Now you got me. Here we go. Hold on.
So Lord, he's gonna get the proof.
I do like to wear. I've got my Jerry Rig Everything shirt. I've got my bearded Tesla shirt. Of course, I got my out of spec shirt. I've got my. There it is. We'll have to in post. Maybe I can like Photoshop that over what could have been.
There it is.
If you send it, I will wear it.
I need to up my shirt game.
By the way, Sebastian, I need to send that charger back still too. I'll kill two birds with one stone. So
you better not wait too long. UPS will reject the shipping label. So
yes, I'll do that tomorrow. Yes, sir. I'll do that tomorrow.
So yeah, it is funny how the YouTube thing works, man. And we discovered, like you, that the podcast thing is interesting. We've had a couple decent podcast episodes where we had an ex-Tesla employee that went pretty well, and I think that got a couple thousand views. I can't remember the other one, Josh. I don't know if you recall. There was a couple podcasts that went okay. Maybe Bearded Tesla with his Arctic one did okay, and then we had an ex-Tesla employee that did okay. There was maybe a couple other ones that did okay. I don't know if you recall, Josh, the podcast ones that. Josh is driving in the middle of nowhere, so he may not have a great connection.
Yes. I mean, and I guess Sebastian posted on X, just trying to figure out the YouTube algorithm. Like, we'll send a video out and it gets 5,000 views. We're like, great. And then the next week we get one that gets like 900. We're like, what are we doing? What's going on here? Like, there's no consistency here. So, and that's the most frustrating part. So.
The car review ones tended to do better, and that's when Josh started making it a point, kind of like you, to discover a dealer that he could get a relationship with. Started getting a couple of those, and then I would try to do, my car reviews for my channel, but then if it was a industry vehicle, like if it was, I would try to post, like if it was something at ACT Expo and it was a more of a work van or a cargo van or something, I would try to post those on the podcast channel. Mm-hmm. And so, I was just trying to find the right formula for the podcast channel versus my personal channel. That's always kind of a hard balance. On my personal channel, I've had 2 videos that went crazy. The Cybertruck video got 140,000 views. The Cyber Cab video, Robotaxi one, has over 100,000 views. Those were the big ones. And then a couple other smatterings that were in the 20,000s, but then other ones, like you guys are saying, like I'll get 400, 600. And the algorithm is crazy because not all video views are the same. So I've got and oddly, you would think Tesla views would be valuable. And I have found that they aren't necessarily. So for example, the Cybercab, the Robotaxi video has 100,000 views, and it has made less money for me than my tonneau cover video that has 1/4 the number of views. Mm-hmm. And then I've got a VinFast video that has more views than the tonneau cover, but it's made 1/4 the amount of money because a lot of the audience was from Vietnam. And like, I've got a bunch of, like, the Vietnam audience went crazy. They're like, oh, this is amazing. Somebody did a video about our car. Mm-hmm. But the majority of the views were from, that area, and they're just not valued from an advertiser standpoint. Mm-hmm. And then a bunch of those people were so excited that they subscribed. Well, then they don't watch anything about the Ford Lightning. Mm-hmm. So then when YouTube sends out the views to those people that have subscribed and they don't watch my video about the Ford Escape or the Ford Lightning or my Model Y, that doesn't help my views. And so I almost wish I could go in and be like, if somebody hasn't watched a video for me in 6 months, I you know what I mean? Like unsubscribe them because it's not helping me and it doesn't help them either.
If you look at the analytics,
literally what I was just pulling up, Joel.
90 to 92% of our videos are from non-subscribers.
Yep.
8 to 10% is only from our subscribers that are watching. So it's like, what's the purpose of subscribers if you're only getting 10% retention? I mean,
yeah, and I'm curious. I'm going to try to do something before the end of the month here. It's so hard to fit in the time, but I really want to go through and share like all my analytics. I'm going to try to be fully transparent. I'm going to show everybody everything that I've made in the past year. I'm just now my 1 year into monetization, and I'm going to say, hey, here's everything I've made. Here's what I've made from affiliate on the tonneau cover. Here's what I've made from Amazon, which is like nickels.
Yeah, we know. It takes forever to pay you too, so
it's just funny, I'll get some, it just goes to my Amazon account and it's a gift certificate or whatever. It's who cares? It's just funny. So I put it there, and then once a year maybe one video explodes and you're like, oh, that was cool, okay. But it's never been the point, right? The point for me has always been to have conversations like this, people in the community, be able to share the experience. And then something I've just done recently within the past month is I actually changed. I don't know what matters on YouTube, to be honest with you, but I've always put it in the category of automotive because that's made sense, right? It's an automotive, it's a car. And it kind of occurred to me, actually, I'm trying something different. I'm not putting it under automotive anymore because I feel like, although that would seem to logically make sense that it's automotive, I'm not sure competition. That it is.
Yeah,
because I feel like when you think about a car review or a car channel, I'm not sure what I'm telling people is about a car. It's not about a motor or an engine. It's not about that. It's more about people and the experience and that kind of thing. So I've put it under people and blogs, and I'm just curious if it reaches a different audience because I think for the average automotive enthusiast, because there isn't a separate EV category. And I wish there was. I wish there was a way to say who are the people that watch Out of Spec and Jeeves and Misco Electric, and like it should just target the same people within our kind of niche, and it should share that within all those people ideally. But it doesn't. If it shares it with the automotive community, and 70% of those people are antagonistic towards EVs, that's also the wrong audience. But we know that there are EV people out there that are just people that just drive automotive EVs for the technology. I'm curious. I'm just curious what that'll do. I don't know. So I've changed it to see if it does anything. It may not even matter. What the heck,
Yeah, I was going to tell you, I was like, I haven't told Joel yet, but I have been keeping a spreadsheet so that at the end of the year we could do a similar transparency type deal because I've always thought that was cool. I've seen other people do it. I think I've seen Brandon Flash does one, or at least he used to. On X, like of all his payouts for random things, and like I've always liked the idea because ultimately, like for like me, and I'm sure Joel feels the same way. When we started doing this, it was so hard to figure out what anything meant. Like it was so hard to get a gauge of a baseline of like, what is a click-through rate supposed to be? How much money am I supposed to make per every 1,000 views? Like, what is a good RPM? What is it like? All of this make no sense. And when you Google, it's like no one talks about it. It's like all hush hush. It's like why? We're all in the same game. You know what I mean? So like, I want to at least once a year kind of do a wrap up of like, this is kind of what our year looks like. This is what happened. We got 200,000 views this year. It's probably not that high. I don't know. And we made this much money, and this is kind of how it breaks down. Like, I want to do that because ultimately I want to be able to hopefully help other people who want to do the same thing because we're all in it together. Like,
a lot of people think like this is our full-time job. This isn't for most of us who do this on YouTube or on X or whatever platforms, audio podcast. This is not our full-time job. This is nights and weekends, and it's scheduling, Saturday reviews around football games and birthday parties, or Sebastian takes trips to the zoo or the museum, or it's something we do for fun. And it's something that we do. And when I started the podcast, I didn't want to come across like, hey, we're a bunch of know-it-alls. Listen to us. We know everything. I want to be more authentic. Like, we're learning along with you. Hey, we don't know a lot about this car. We're going to find out with you. Ask us questions. If we don't know, we'll find out. We'll go research it for you. So that's kind of like the angle I wanted to keep the podcast. I wanted to keep it light. I didn't want to go heavy on like super nerdy tech stuff because Kyle Connor does that and he does great with that. I mean, that's his niche and he's awesome with that. And I'm not here to compete with Kyle Connor, you know? So, I mean, that's kind of like the way I wanted to go with the podcast. So I can understand actually one of our audio podcasts on Spotify, actually one of the categories is like arts and leisure. That's what I have it under just to see what would happen. Because it's really not, you know, it's I kind of agree with you. It's really not automotive. It could even go under tech. I mean, so it's just, and like you said, it's like, it's building relationships, it's meeting people, and it's just talking about things you're passionate about.
Yeah, I think that was the most fun part of my trip across the country was, you know, meeting you guys, meeting Martin, who I've done so many episodes with, but had not met, meeting, going to Long MacArthur Ford and meeting Tim Bartz, meeting Kyle Connor. I had met Kyle before, but actually being at Out of Spec was super different. Meeting Alyssa, getting to meet Ben Westby, getting to
stay in the yurt.
Getting to stay in the yurt, which is an awesome experience. Shout out to Ben and his Airbnb, literally in the air. That was cool. And yeah, I think it's a different thing, and it's a super cool thing to be able to do those things. I think it's super cool that you guys got to go out to California. Was that your first visit to California? Had you been out there before?
It was.
So my
second, it was for me.
I got to go to San Diego for a teaching conference. Oh gosh, let's see, 16 minus 2, so 14 years ago. So I hadn't been since in 14 years. So I didn't even know what I was going. Like Sebastian got the invite. I was his +1. He's like, I got an invite to go to LA. So my wife, she said, hey, since Sebastian got this invite to go to the LA, she's like, are you going? I'm like, I don't know. He may be taking his wife. She was like, you would take your wife? I was like, I'm assuming he may take his wife. And then we were kind of playing around with it. I said, so am I like your +1? He was like, yeah, you're my +1. It's like, okay, just want to make sure. So
and like, I guess, man, so many things I want to know about this. I guess I'm going to ask you a question and then we'll go back a little bit because I want to hear how it all kind of came about.
Sure.
I think we've gotten a hint already because Sebastian, you mentioned that you were, you were or are still a Bolt owner.
I am still a Bolt owner.
Okay, cool. There's so many great things to explore there. But when you were, as you were in California, I know like Out of Spec Dave was there. Our good friend Talik, Charge Positive was there. Like, could you just being in California with the California car culture and just the amount of EVs and people, could you sense a different energy or not so much? When you got there, you know, we're just like, man, this is so different than what it's the vibe in Arkansas. Or no, I mean, you've got a culture and a community around you. Was it similar? What you were?
Okay, so I need you to just kind of visualize for me. You probably know this, but I'm just going to say it anyway in case anyone listening doesn't. In the Los Angeles metropolitan area, there are 12 million people. The entire state of Arkansas has 3 million people.
I assume you flew into LAX.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, the entire city of Little Rock, which is like one of our biggest cities, is what, 200,000 people?
Like 225,000. That's like metro area. That's not city limits. More like 175 city limits. So yeah.
So just the second you walk out the airport, like that was kind of the first thing that kicks you, right? Now, I've been to big cities before. I've been to DFW, been to Chicago, been to, you know, that's not like that wasn't necessarily, but it's just still when you are so used to how things are at home, you step out into somewhere that has that many people everywhere and you're just like, just immediately shocked.
When you're used to seeing grass and you don't see it for a day, or it just, you're like, oh, there's no grass. This is wall to wall cement and houses. I mean, it's just, it's an interesting point of view. I like LA. I could never live in LA. It's like someplace I'd go to visit and then I'm like, I gotta get out of here. So yeah.
So it's funny. It's funny you say that because I had the opposite reaction when I picked up my truck in Tennessee, and I'm at the dealer, and just across from me are trees and a big green hill, and it was just that's not if you're at a car dealer in California where I'm living, it's surrounded by 8 other car dealers, a freeway, and on the other side of the freeway is a big mall, and surrounding you in 100 miles in every direction is suburban sprawl. And, you know, there's not just like, there's a forest. and then there's a giant lake.
Yeah.
And then there's
house, farmland. That's How's Arkansas for you.
Yeah, like somebody lives right there, and there's a guy in a pickup truck, and there is a little market, and there's a giant rolling hill. It was I swear, like I think I was on the phone with Josh as I'm driving away, and it was just such a different experience. I'm like, this place is amazing. It is. It's like a place that you, where I live, have to drive 3 miles away to get to.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, East Tennessee. I mean, when I picked up my truck from Martin in Kansas, I came through Arkansas. And Arkansas is the same, just it lacks the mountains that we have in East Tennessee. It's most similar to West Tennessee. But it's one of those things that, like, once you have that, I go to the big cities and I'm just like, yeah. And there's a place and people love it, but like, I'm a country boy, and I mean, I live in a city, but my city is like your city. It's not the same as a Chris Bow city, and you know.
Yeah, I can little. I can.
And all,
yeah.
But I like my town of 50,000.
Yeah, I can literally leave my house right now, and I live in a subdivision north of the city, the suburbs. I can literally leave my house within 1.5 minutes, be in the country. Yep, just grassland, farmland.
I live in a county with 12,000 people total in the entire county.
Sebastian doesn't have a paved road, so
I do have a paved road. I actually live on a highway. Thank you very much. To answer,
go ahead.
To answer the second half of your question, yes, it was immediately noticeable. Just EVs everywhere. Everywhere you look is a Tesla or Ioniq 5 or Equinox or Blazer or
Mercedes,
whatever.
Yeah.
Oh God, yes, so many Mercedes EVs. You never see those here.
Yeah.
And every time you pass a charge station, it's full or busy or almost full. And like, there was a supercharger in our hotel parking lot that was just a constant stream of people out all hours. So yes, it was very noticeable, just like the culture difference of like, hey, this is an area that actually has maybe incentivized purchasing EVs and incentivizes owning EVs, or, you know, whatever reason has a market for them. And it's very, very obvious.
So let's talk about how you got there, because it wasn't one of those typical things that you see so often, or even like we just saw with the Tesla Standard, where, you know, it was these it was kind of the super secret behind the scenes, only the special got to go, and then everything was kind of controlled. This was owners, it sounds like, right? Like that were. So tell us the story of how you ended up there and how you knew it wasn't a Nigerian prince.
Yeah, so I not 100% sure how I ended up on Chevy's radar for this. So I got the invite in an email, but it went to an old email address associated with an old YouTube channel that I have not posted to in 2 years. Because it predates Joel and I doing this, and ever since anything I've made, I've just put on the EV Geek channel because, like, whatever, like, this channel's monetized.
Yeah, I made him sign a non-compete. So
no, it's just, I mean, I could make money for it, or I could not make money for it. So, like, what's the point? Anyway, and I got it at that email address, and I saw it actually while I was out of town in Kansas, and I kind of read it quickly and went on. And like a week later, I saw that someone from GM had posted in a Chevy Bolt group, and I read the post, and I was like, that sounds familiar. So then I went back to my email, and I reread the email, and I was like, oh, okay. I replied back, and the person who sent it to me replied within 10 minutes, and it was like 8 o'clock at night my time, which I thought was crazy anyway, and sent me the whole list of the details, and it was like, do you want to come to LA? We'll pay for your flights. We'll pay for transportation from the airport to the hotel. We'll pay for your hotel. We'll pay for food. All that jazz. Do you want to come to LA for the Chevy Bolt block party? They wouldn't tell me really what that entailed. Just the Chevy Bolt block party. I knew it was for the reveal of the car, but they didn't say like what the event entailed or anything like that. And so then I was just kind of like, shoot, and this was like a week's notice. Also, just want to make sure we're we're all on the same page here.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was talking to my wife about it and was like, hey, can I go to LA? She unfortunately had a work event, so she couldn't go with me. And that's where Joel steps in.
I was his seconds.
So, and she was like, if it's for free, yes, you have to go because it would be stupid if you didn't. And so,
which
yeah,
was so perfect. Like if it was you and your wife, would you have still done content with your wife or?
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%.
Awesome.
Now she's never been in anything before. It would have been a first, but yes, 100%. And yeah, and so just kind of in the leading up to, you know, I'd get random emails here and there, just like random communications, you know, got emails from someone to book the flights and things like that. And then like 3 days before the event, we actually kind of got an itinerary, you know, like people are going to arrive this time. There's going to be a dinner at this time. The next day, everyone's going to go here at this time, whatever. And so I kind of just like replied to that email, just kind of like, hey, what should I be expecting for this event? I was like, I and my +1 operate a very small YouTube channel, and you mentioned like because they kept mentioning just like content creation opportunities, and that's all it said, which is the vaguest possible way to word that. And so I was like, what does that entail? And I really kind of asked too, because I was like, what the heck do I need to pack? Do I need to pack cameras and tripods? Do I need to pack just my phone? Do I need to bring nothing? Like, what do I do? And they just replied back and said, there will be chances to create content. It's essentially what they said. They gave me no extra detail.
Was there any kind of like embargo or any kind of
No.
can't cover this? It was just
so I played it safe kind of before the event, didn't really say why I was going because I hadn't seen anything else about this online. You know, I've mentioned that I saw that Facebook post. That Facebook post was gone by the time like we got closer to the event, because I tried to find it again. I was like, well, if they're leaving a post about doing this event online, then it's probably safe to talk about where we're going. The post was gone. So I was just kind of playing it safe on okay, I can say I'm going to LA. I'm not going to say why I'm going to LA, right? Because I don't want to be on anyone's bad list. I'm like, I will be perfect behavior, good boy for this trip.
But they never specifically said, don't say
No.
anything about this either. But we were playing it safe. Like, I'm not posting anything. And then Arkansas E-Travel, I don't know if you ever met Landon, the Arkansas E-Traveler. He follows DC Fast Charging Network of Walmart. He kind of gave a little cryptic response and was like, it's funny how I'm seeing all these posts from people who own a certain vehicle, make and model, going to a particular city on a certain day. So that's kind of how we knew it was kind of starting making the rounds. That was probably like 3 or 4 days before. This is probably like Monday, and we were flying out Wednesday.
And
Which
you
in
guys
hindsight, I know who he was talking about, but anyway.
Yeah.
You guys did such a great job with this too, man. Just showing like the different models that were there, the different colors, the insides, just the different changes, because they did do some changes with like the exterior with the rear end of it that people had commented about. And you showed like the vehicle to home aspects of it. It was so cool to see you at this event, and it got so much attention. It was like such a great get for you. Like it had to be exciting. I was excited for you. I was like, oh my God, this is so great. And it seemed like the energy was really good at the event. And it was so cool to see this truly affordable EV get highlighted and to see it brought back. Great to see NACS there. I know you guys explained the reason for it being in that location. I was disappointed to see they didn't move it, but for those who haven't watched yet, I will leave or I guess Josh will leave a link for the video and for you guys in the description here when we post this. We'll make sure it's there, but explain this part, because they switched to NACS, but then they didn't move this. Like, what did they tell you about it? Did they address it directly, or this had to have come up, right?
They didn't address it directly.
Okay.
But when you kind of think about it, it makes sense. They reused the stamping. They did not do any new stamping for the car. So that is where the charge port was on the outgoing EUV model. And so it just kind of stayed put to keep costs down, is ultimately what it was. They didn't have to do any retooling for that or anything like that. It's the same from what I can tell based on looks and times of EEV. It's the same charge port door. It's the same mechanisms. They literally just changed what was behind the door. And that's why it's in that location is my assumption, because they would have had to engineer to move the cabling to the other side of the car and things like that. For cost reasons, they just left it where it was.
Now, Josh, have you ever been in one of these, what was, I guess, the Bolt EUV, and now it's just going to be called the Bolt? Because as tall and as big as you are, I'm curious, if you've ever tried to get inside one of these and what that was like for you if you have.
I never have done the Bolt, but my very first car ever that I owned was a Ford Focus, and my best guess is that it's probably relatively similar on sizing, but somebody can call me wrong on that. But I have not actually gotten the privilege to get in and drive around in a Bolt.
So here's what I'll tell you on sizing. When we drove this car, when we actually got to drive it during the event, they had an engineer ride with everyone who did in the ride groups. And we actually ended up with two. We ended up with the guy who was the lead engineer for the battery tech and the guy who's the chief engineer for the entire car. And his name is, if I remember right, and I'm so sorry if I get this wrong, it's Jeremy Short. He is 6'5". He rode in the car behind me.
That's hysterical.
He rode in the car behind me, and I'm 6 foot tall. And there was no room issues. It was fine.
So that's on your list, Josh. When the guys that got you the Silverado, you got to reach out to them as soon as the new Bolt is available.
The new model comes out, yeah.
The new model. We need that on our reviews, and we got to see you inside the Bolt.
6'6" takes on the Chevy Bolt.
Yes, that would be an absolutely hilarious vehicle. Just to see you standing next to it, I think, would be hilarious.
And I would say something that I got from the event. It was at Universal. It was at Universal Studios on the back lot. Is that we kind of pretty much, for maybe 6 hours, had full access to the vehicles and do anything we really wanted to. We did have a window. Sebastian stated where we got to drive it. We had a 30-minute window. We drove around a course on the back lot. So we didn't get up to high speeds, 15, 20 miles an hour at the most, I think. And we got to stop at different ways. That was the only thing they were kind of hesitant about was pictures, because there was active filming going on the back lot. So you can only film when the car was stopped. But I mean, engineers were there the whole night. We could talk to them. I talked with Jennifer, who did all the interior design. It was just full access. And it was like no embargoes. We're posting lives. Other people are posting lives. It was just a very laid back, just kind of chill event. So not what I was expecting. I was expecting more like Tesla, like people are going to talk. This person's going to talk. This person's going to talk. This person's going to talk. You have an hour and then everyone leaves. That's what I was kind of expecting. But it was really cool, really chill, really laid back. Everyone was super nice. Everyone knew us. I mean, we walked in the hotel. They're like, "Are you Sebastian?" I'm like, "No, but he is. I'm his +1." Yeah, I mean, it was just cool. Yeah, just a really surreal experience.
Yeah. So now, had you guys been invited to an industry event like that before, or an unveil before, or any kind of?
Nope.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, and again, I want to kind of stress, we were not invited for content reasons.
Nope.
So, and it was really interesting. So there were obviously content creators there. They were all, for the most part, Chevy Bolt owners too. Because out of spec, like Dave at one point had a Chevy Bolt.
The guy from Monroe Live.
The guy from Monroe Live has a Bolt.
Mm-hmm. Like Malik has a Bolt.
Talik, yes.
Talik has a Bolt. Yep.
Even the content people there have had a Chevy Bolt before, and which I thought that was really interesting, and really even that. So the most kind of blew me away part of the whole event, they only invited 30 people.
Yeah.
Plus their +1s. And so it's like, oh, someone from Chevy saw me and thought I should be part of that 30. Cool.
Yeah. So then that would have been your first time getting to meet Talik, getting to meet Out of Spec Dave.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys have an opportunity?
Who is extremely tall, by the way.
He is.
In real life.
He's 6'4", 6'5",
he is
right?
Extremely tall. Yes.
Yeah. Did you guys get an opportunity to go hang out, grab dinner? Like, what was the time frame from the time? Because I know you guys went and did other things like the diner and Waymo, but when you guys were together, was there, from the time you got there and got to meet those guys to the time you had to leave and get back on the plane, like, was there time to go and hang? Were you all at the same hotel? Like,
yeah. So we flew in on Tuesday. The event was on Wednesday. We flew out on Thursday. So we got to LA at about 5 LA time. I think that's right.
Oh, I thought it was 2.
Oh, was it that early? I didn't think it was that early. I thought we didn't leave Dallas until 2. Oh, wait, time travel. Hold on.
Yeah, but it was 5. It was 2 because the dinner was at 7, so we wouldn't have had that quick of a turnaround. We had time to go up and chill and do some stuff. So
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so we didn't, we kind of got there early, and when we got there, they were like, "Hey, by the way, we're doing a dinner tonight. There's going to be some people, some people from Chevy there. Again, the chief engineer was there, and then the executive engineer was there. So a person who's kind of oversees the entire project, as well as like their head of marketing and a couple other people. And then there was some people there. So for the dinner that night, we ended up eating. So the 4 people from Chevy, and then the guys from Monroe Live. We ate. Talik was there. Transport Evolved.
Cool.
Yeah.
She was there.
Yeah, Nikki.
And then it was us. Yes.
Yep.
And then it was us, and that was it for who was there at the dinner. I guess everyone else got in on Wednesday.
Okay.
But
I knew cool, quaint dinner. It was really cool and a really cool, trendy place in LA. We're in Arkansas, so we were at it, and you can probably experience this in San Francisco. You walk into a restaurant at 9:00 in Arkansas, and they're putting up chairs. It's closing time.
Right.
We left this restaurant at 9:45, and it was on and popping. I'm like, this is surreal for us. Like, you don't.
The night's just starting.
Night's just starting. I'm like, do these people work? I mean, do they have to get up the next morning? I mean, it's just, and they're just all just chilling at this cool restaurant that was kind of indoor, outdoor, on the side of a hill. Chevy took care of us. It was a really cool evening.
And the dinner was cool too, because like the whole time, we're getting to talk to these guys. We were talking to Jeremy, and he's talking about how they've been taking the cars cross country, doing validation testing, and just like putting miles on them. Seeing what they like, what they don't like, what needs to change. Talking about all his trips. Of course, they weren't able to at that point give us that much detail about the car.
Yep.
Outside of what the world already knew, because Talik posted pictures of the outside of the car on Twitter.
Right.
But they weren't able to give us too much more info. Like, they weren't really talking battery size or anything like that, but they were kind of just saying the experience of having the car. And there's a couple things that we gleaned throughout the night. Like, he mentioned a couple times, like Super Cruise and things like, okay, so the new car still has Super Cruise. Cool. And that was kind of when we started getting more info about just the event. They weren't telling us what was happening, but they gave us some more insight on like, oh, there's only going to be like 30 people there. There's only going to be this. There's only going to be that. But it was a good time. And again, we got to sit down and eat with some of these other people that were there for content reasons. And again, that's part of how we kind of started quickly realizing, was like, oh, wait a minute, we're not here for, that's not what we're here for. So we're just kind of along for the ride. Not saying everyone was amazing. Everyone was great. Everyone was fantastic to deal with and talk to, and all the other content, like the other content people, everyone was super nice and friendly. Want to make sure that's not how that's coming off at all. It was just, I very quickly realized that we were the smallest people at the table.
Yeah.
Now, did you get a sense it was like Chevy just wanted to hear from you, or Chevy wanted to, because they were all owners. So,
yeah.
But it's not like they were getting feedback to change anything either. It was, it had been made. So
it was a party.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a party. I mean, when we got there were tons of people there that were from Los Angeles or kind of surrounding areas who got the email from Chevy or saw it on Facebook or whatever,
and they just
who drove down just that day. Yeah. And I just happened to also get an invite and reply to it.
There was a couple behind us on our little test drive time, and they were just gleaming from ear to ear. I'm like, so what do y'all do? They're like, we're just Bolt owners. We literally just bought one like 8 months ago and got this invite, and now we're here. We live like an hour and a half away. We got to come down for this, and they were just like shocked, like they got this invite, being a Bolt owner for only 8 months. But it was a good mixture of Bolt owners and Bolt owners who happen to be content creators too. So there's a really great mix of people that we got to mingle and talk to and things like that.
And so as the Bolt owner and experiencing it, I mean, my takeaway, I have a guy that works with me, and he has a Bolt. And my only experience with it was when I was playing around with Chevy getting access to the Tesla supercharger, and just trying to bring it down and see, does the adapter work yet? Does the adapter work? I'd see some rumor that they were testing it, and I would race down to my charger that's down the street from me right next to Lucid, and I would plug it in and see, like, can I fool it? Can I make it think, because there would be windows when you could test it when Chevy was testing it, and you could see if they were getting closer. So I've driven the Bolt only a couple times within the context of testing the adapter. But as someone that drives it all the time, is it a daily driver for you, or is it one that is like a second car for you, Sebastian?
Yeah, so up until we bought the Ioniq 5, it was my daily driver. Now it's my wife's daily driver.
Okay. So as you got into this one, it seems just, from my takeaway, you got the NACS connector is an improvement. You've got the rear end that they've improved on. And then the charging is triple the speed, so that's an improvement. Otherwise, it kind of looks and feels and seems to be similar. Is there anything I'm missing as somebody who's only had limited exposure to it? Is there anything else that you immediately were like, they've done a good job improving these fit, finish, materials? Anything else that stood out to you right away?
Yeah, so interior there are improvements. There's some stuff that they didn't touch, or at least it doesn't seem like they touched. They might have done some modification too. But like, for example, the seats, as far as I could tell, outside of the LT model getting new cloth patterns, the seats are identical. And it seemed like the RS trim were quite literally the same seats, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But again, that wasn't changed. But like, it has an all new infotainment system. It has the same Google Android Automotive system that the other formerly known as Ultium platform vehicles have. And it gets kind of the same gauge cluster setup, and the interior itself is just it has some, especially on the front, they've just kind of reorganized it.
So it's refreshed.
Right.
The old Bolt doesn't have any of that. The gauge clusters, the display, the Android Auto.
Yeah. So mine's a 2019. So mine's actually even further removed from the 22 refresh. But like, it has, like, the older Bolt has, yes, it has a digital gauge cluster, and it does have the 10-inch or 11-inch infotainment screen, but the infotainment is the older infotainment style where you mainly just use it for CarPlay type deal. It has some built-in native apps, but it's not Android or anything. And then the driver screen, it has a driver screen, but it's a pretty basic screen. The new one is very similar to the other Ultium vehicles, or not Ultium, whatever you want to call it, where you get the configurable driver screen that you can throw a Google Map onto or move stuff around, and this infotainment system is Android, so it has a Play Store, and so you can download Spotify or Tidal or Google Maps or Waze, and all the other apps. It does mean it also loses out on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto because GM's not doing that in their EVs anymore, which
So you have in yours, you have CarPlay and Android Auto. This one is using Android Automotive.
Right.
So in some ways there's some big improvements there, but for other people, they may be like,
yeah, and this is an area that people go back and forth on all the time, and there's a lot of very different opinions on it. And I personally, honestly, kind of wash between them sometimes.
I've only driven the Silverado and the Chevy Silverado, the GMC EV, but all of those that have that, and I found the infotainment system to be way more confusing to navigate than CarPlay. Now, maybe I'd get used to it, but I drove the Silverado for 3 or 4 days, and I was actively looking forward to getting back to CarPlay. So I get that they're doing that, but for me, I land more on the side of go with what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
What do you have in the Ioniq?
It's a Hyundai proprietary.
Oh, so it doesn't have CarPlay or?
No, it does. It does have CarPlay. Okay. It is wired CarPlay.
It's wired. But, yep. Same as the Kia. It's wired.
The newer ones have wireless, but mine is wired.
Yeah, my wife's 2026 EV9 has wireless CarPlay.
But it's not Android or anything like that. It's a Hyundai system.
So if somebody's trying to think like, okay, I've got the new refreshed Bolt, it's 32,000, depending on the spec. And then someone else is like, well, the dealer, if they're trying to get rid of an older EUV and maybe it's 10,000 less or something, the trade-off is going to be, I don't have NACS. Is the battery size and range similar on the two?
So it's interesting. So the big news on this is that it charges better. It no longer has a 50 kilowatt peak. It's now 150 kilowatts. 10 to 80 in 26 minutes versus 10 to 80 on the old car of being almost 55 minutes. Pretty big improvement there. The battery size is very similar. So the outgoing cars had, I think it was gross around 66 kilowatt hours. Usable was in the 60-ish range. The number varies depending on who you ask. LG would say one number. GM would say a different number. Owners would say something. Even when you look at the battery casings, the numbers on the battery casings don't match. Mine says 64 on it.
Huh.
But they're all
NMC.
the same pack. But
Still
it was an NMC pack, yes.
So you're not NMC,
from
you're not LFP. You can't go to. You really shouldn't go to 100% on it.
But the new one is LFP.
Oh, the new one is okay. So that's
sorry.
That's
Yes, the old car is NMC. The new one is a 65 kilowatt hour LFP pack.
Okay, so that's a big deal.
Which is a big deal because while the old EUV I think was 243 miles of range, people kind of were a little bummed. The new Bolt is only 255, and that's GM estimated. So EPA number could end up being different, but GM is estimating 255. And people kind of saw that and were like, well, that's not awesome. That's not that much more range. But it's LFP. So you can charge it to 100% every day.
Yeah. No, I think, man, so that's not nothing, man. I mean, I think you're talking, you got better charging, which may not matter if you're just using it as a commuter. But I think being able to go 100% LFP and that's adding practical range. I just really do like NACS. I just do.
And
Did
something
did they actually discuss the official pricing start on that?
Yes. So, and I will pull my notes so I don't say anything wrong. Notes. So the launch edition will be starting at $29,990. And that is with destination.
Now, is there anything special about the launch edition that makes it the launch edition?
They didn't talk a lot about it.
They didn't say a lot of what it was going to be, and I actually kind of left the event under the wrong impression. I thought the launch edition was going to be the RS trim.
Me too.
But I have since seen people talk about that's not the case.
Yeah, I think the RS is going to be like 32 or something.
Yeah, so we'll see. That said, I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't have had any of this stuff nailed down because they're saying they're starting production in January, or deliveries will start in January, is what they're saying.
And then there was the confusing part. Sorry, go ahead and continue with your pricing, and then we'll get to the confusing.
Yeah, so they told us at the event was launch edition starting at $29,990, and that's with destination, and that an LT trim was coming later at $28,995, and that's again with destination. They didn't say anything during the event about RS pricing. I found out the RS pricing after the event once GM did their official press release the next day, and then it had numbers listed.
And then is the difference going to be, about horsepower, not about battery or range?
So from what I can tell, most of the difference is just kind of optioning. The RS has like leather seats by default. That said, you can get leather seats on the LT trim. Mm-hmm. The RS has I think probably comes standard with the heated and cooled seats, or at least the show model did. And
the different wheels.
That might not be the case. It has different wheels. It has a different kind of sportier front fascia, although it's pretty minor, the difference there. And just it's some appearance package and just some general nice to haves. It doesn't necessarily come standard with Super Cruise. Super Cruise is available on all of them from what I was told. And just kind of things like that.
And then can you explain the thing where they said this is going to be a limited run, but it's not production constrained? Did you ever figure out that crackerjack decoder ring of what that was?
So during the event, they said it was limited run and then moved on very quickly.
Okay.
They didn't even say anything about production or anything. I have some theories, but they're nothing more than that.
Make some stuff up for us, Sebastian. You were there, so you're like
yeah, we kind of poked Dave around, and Dave had some ideas, but he didn't want to talk about it either. So, but Sebastian looked into his crystal ball and came up with a possible.
It has to be battery sourcing.
Yeah,
it has to be a battery sourcing issue.
Oh,
GM's not producing LFP. They're not producing LFP cells in the US yet.
So they'll sell as many until they run out of LFP batteries.
That is my assumption. Is they either stockpiled a bunch of LFP cells before all the tariff stuff started, and they're going to use what they've got and hope, and maybe they're able to start building LFP cells in the US before they run out.
Interesting.
Or they'll run out, stop production, and then either bring production back once they are making LFP cells in the US. Because GM does have plans to do that, like everyone else. But yeah, that's my only. I would think it has to be battery sourcing related. That's the only thing that makes sense to me.
And then when are they supposed to start taking orders for them?
So the event kept saying available January 2026.
Available to deliver or available to take orders?
It just said available.
So cryptic.
That's a great question. Allegedly, I think I've seen production has started.
Okay.
They're building them in Kansas City at the Fairfax assembly plant. But I also this very recently saw saying that they were still doing retooling. So
it's interesting how these different car companies go about their sales, where, you know, Ford wants to open up order banks to dealers, and then the dealers can put in orders, and then if you know that, then you can put in your own custom order with your dealer, and then you got to hope the dealer doesn't mark it up. Hopefully you've got a relationship with them. And then if you're a customer that goes to the lot, you got to see and hope that the dealer ordered your spec, or you got to hope that somebody that ordered a spec walked away from it and didn't take delivery. And then you're just kind of at the random chance of what's there. And then you got others that are just like, hey, we're just producing. Now, is GM producing whatever GM wants to produce, or did they have an order bank open from a GM dealer? And like, I don't know how GM works. You know, I've gotten to know Ford so well, but I don't know the GM. I don't know the secret sauce of GM.
Yeah. And it's such a big company. I don't even think it's the same between their brands.
Yeah, that's so fascinating.
So this is 2 weeks ago. An article from GM Authority saying that GM has done an indefinite layoff at the Fairfax, Kansas plant for 900 workers. Which to me would sound like they're not building them yet.
Oh, so bizarre, man. Yeah, and it's interesting because things change so dynamically, where and GM is not transparent the way Ford is. Ford has separated out their EVs so that Ford is very transparent. Like, you know, we've lost X amount of billions of dollars, and here's what they release every year about how much they've lost. And then GM has not been until very recently, and suddenly they're like, all right, we've delayed as long as we can. I'm sorry, guys. Hey, just so you know, we're writing off $1.2 billion because we've had to, you know, we've delayed and we've kept hoping this would change, but everything, that's it. We're going to have to write off $1.2 billion, and it's going to hit the next earnings things. And we're laying off these workers because it's not. And then you just, you know, then the LFP question, we're going to eventually run out of inventory. So who knows, you know, it's, and then I think you just hope that sometime in the middle of Q1, maybe the administration changes their mind about something and okay, we're back in the game. And even oddly, you know, we all heard about for that brief moment where Ford and Chevy had gone, Ford and GM, I guess, not Chevy necessarily, but Ford and GM had gone and pre-purchased some EV tax credits and then kind of gotten some political trouble about it. And then they're like, oh, never mind, we're not going to do it. So these things, they're so dynamic all the time. It's so hard to gauge what is true today is not necessarily going to be true tomorrow. And what is true in Arkansas is not always true in California. I mean, they're all so different. You know, I see lease deals for things that aren't, I mean, sometimes they're specific to Colorado or specific to Washington State. But even beyond that, there are things that these companies like GM and Ford will do specific to regions. that they won't do from place to place. It's really hard to keep track of these things. It's really hard to know what's true. They're so cryptic, and it's just and then you add the ability for dealers to have dealer markups, and it's just hard to know what is going on and what will happen by the time these things actually hit the lots.
Right.
What is your take on when you think about the Bolt and you think about the Leaf, and you think about the as far as the affordable vehicles that are out there, like is that the two? Are those the two that you've got to kind of weigh against? Is the Leaf and the Bolt?
I think it's the argument that makes the most sense because they're pretty dang close at least in starting price. The Leaf is right around 30 grand. I think that's before destination. The Bolt is supposed to be basically 30 grand with destination starting out. And I think, I've not driven the new Bolt or not Bolt, new Leaf yet. So I can't really make too many judgment calls on it. On paper it has more range, but on the same side, on the same kind of coin, you're talking the complete base model there. So like it doesn't necessarily have some of the options. Like the base model doesn't have a battery heater for some reason.
Well, and I think the question too there was, and again, it's always hard to tell, but I think people sometimes combine two concepts of the $30,000 is the lower spec of the Leaf, which doesn't necessarily have the bigger range. I think it doesn't, like the Leaf, I think has 2 battery sizes, doesn't it? So unlike the Bolt,
and I don't
the
remember.
Bolt is
right.
So
it's interesting. I think pricing wise, those make the most, like those are the most obvious comparisons. But without seeing the new Leaf yet in person and having some actual real world reviews and things like that, it's hard to make that call. But it is interesting for sure. And of course, though, even with the new Leaf, they're saying that production's going to be limited because of whatever reasons, component sourcing issues or whatnot.
Well, yeah, go ahead, Joel.
So yeah, the Leaf is correct. The Leaf comes in a 52 and a 75 kilowatt hour battery pack. So yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting to see, because the 75, I got to assume, is going to be much more expensive. So you're going to pay for that range. It's NMC, not LFP. It's got that weird setup where you've got a NACS on one side and a CCS on the other. So do you want to deal with that?
NACS port only supports DC charging, and then the J1772 is level 2 only, but you can't level 2 charge on the NACS. Yeah, that's such a
bizarre.
Weird. It's like they got that far into engineering and they were like, "Oh crap, everyone's doing NACS. I guess we need to do it too."
And then will Nissan where you want to put your, do you want to get into bed with Nissan? Is that going to be around? They've just stopped making the Aria, or Araya, as our friend out of spec Dave would say. So there's that kind of thing to factor into it, and then I think here's the $1 million question, right? Everything you know about the Leaf, what it does, what it doesn't do, CarPlay, all that kind of stuff, the weird chargers, the range limitations, everything you know about the Leaf and the Bolt, and what it does and what it doesn't do well. Now, take the standard Model 3 or the Y. I think most people agree the 3 is probably a little bit better value than the Y. They've taken a lot of the Y away, but Joel, you've owned the Y. Do you still own the Y?
No, I've owned a 3 and a Y. So no,
okay.
we have both our EVs are Kias. So
okay. So you've had the Teslas.
I had the standard range Model 3.
And then Sebastian, you've driven them enough, or I don't know if you've driven them
pretty
much.
Decently.
So you just it's 10 grand more ish, maybe 6. Say 6 to 10.
Yeah, the Model 3 standard is 37. We'll call it's 36,990. We'll call it 37.
So it's, which may not be that big a difference if you think about a 32 Bolt or the Leaf at 72 kilowatts, maybe somewhere in that 34, right? So what's your calculus there? Taking away the I hate Elon, I'm never touching any of that stuff. That would be the obvious. Okay, that's fine. You're not buying that. But, is what you're getting is that, you know, do you got to go standard for that extra money, or do you get enough? If you're only getting 250 miles of range, if you're going CarPlay and Android Auto or Android Automotive, I'm sorry. What are your thoughts on that when you're talking about you're a first-time EV buyer? And those are your three choices, but one is definitely more expensive and you're paying more taxes too. It's not as simple as just the base price either.
And insurance.
Insurance is more on Tesla. Like, give us your hot take. First time EV buyer. Yeah.
This is such a weird situation. I think in a vacuum, not even in a vacuum, I think the standard Model 3, Model Y needed to be cheaper.
I do too.
Because ultimately, like, 37 grand is not a bad price for a Model 3, but you could get one cheaper once upon a time. And I feel like on the standards, they just pulled too much stuff out.
Yeah.
You know, they have cloth seats, which is not fine. I don't have a problem with cloth seats. That's fine with me. But when you start thinking about calculus stuff, okay, well, 32,000 Bolt has leather seats that are heated and ventilated. That's a bit of a weird thing. The Model 3 has more range. Model Y has more range. Sure. They don't have autopilot? What?
Yeah.
What the heck was Tesla thinking on that? Autopilot's like their whole shtick.
All the fanboys will come back and say, but you can get FSD, but yeah, then you're going to pay $100.
Yeah, but then it's another $100 a month, which is, I mean, not an insignificant amount of money. I would say someone
who owned Teslas for 3 years and then left them to go to the eGMP platform with the Kia. I thought it was going to be more of a struggle, and it really hasn't been. There are some things I liked about the Tesla, but my Model Y, and Sebastian, we say it all the time, it was a horrible ride. I mean, it's just not, and you have one similar model. I mean, I get into that Kia EV6 and it's like driving on clouds. I get into my 2020 Model Y and it's like every little pothole here in the South, which we have potholes all over roads here in the South. It was just, you felt it. So I'm like, yeah, do I miss the tech? But I kind of like the nicer ride, the more comfortable ride. And so
but talk about that. Talk about that not from the Kia standpoint. Like the EV9 is nice.
Yeah.
But now talk about it from the Bolt perspective.
I have an EV6. No, I have an EV6. So it's
EV6.
It's not, and it's the low trim EV6.
Well, you have both.
I mean, it's the wind. I mean, it's. I would say, but I honestly, I don't know. I've had a Model Y. I don't know. For me, it's just something different, and it's really going to depend on. I don't think if someone who's a first-time EV buyer is going to look at tech and specs and all, they're going to look at that. That's going to be the eye appeal. Which one looks cooler? Which one looks better? Which colors look better? And that's probably the one that they go with. Or do they have brand loyalty? You know, I mean, that's what I think it is.
Yeah, brand loyalty goes a long way with these things. Yeah. I do think it's the one that makes you look back and makes you smile sometimes. Mm-hmm. And I do, man, I can't remember who did this video. Shame on me. Someone made, I want to say it was Iowa Tesla guy shame on me for not remembering. I think it was him. And the title was, it's "This EV is not for you." And it was so well done because it reminded me of my wife, who we got the Model Y for my wife. And it's a 2020. It's a used 2020 Model Y. And she came out of a 2013 Ford Edge. And for anybody that's been driving EVs around, and you talk about a 2020 Model Y, it's got the single pane glass, it's got the rough ride. It's, you can list a whole bunch of reasons why that is. I can list 10 different EVs that are going to be a better experience. But for her, right? She is loving that thing, man. She just did a road trip to Disneyland there and back, had 2 of her teacher friends with her, and the charging experience was spectacular. The navigation was phenomenal. The UI where it shows all the people and everything around you, as someone that's kind of always skittish and paranoid, just her being able to see all of the visualization and feel reassured. Like she's constantly worried about blind spots and things, like so many aspects. As she pulls up to the house and the garage door just opens, as she pulls out and it just closes. All of her podcasts, Spotify, everything integrated. She loves it. And then I get into it and I'm like, this is a painful thing to drive coming out of the Lightning, which is like, floats down the road. But the Model Y is not for me. And so if you're coming out of a car that's a motor car that is, in our case, 13, 14 years old with 100,000 miles on it, and then you get into a Model Y that is a standard, or an old, a used Model Y, it's a different. Well, that's a rough experience coming out of a Kia. So I don't know. It is an interesting. I'm interested to see how all these things come out in 26.
Yeah, and I really think it depends on just users' preference, because my wife is not a big Model Y fan. She hates having the one screen. She wants buttons. She wants comfort. She wants those features. She likes all those features. For me, I mean, I don't care. Have one screen. It doesn't bother me. But for her, she's like, no. I'm like, hey, why don't you take the Model Y? She said, I don't like driving the thing. I don't like it. I'm scared of it. I don't like the tech. I want because she's had Kia. She's had Kias for years. This is like her fourth or fifth one. She's just comfortable in that car. It drives like a car, and that's what she wants. It's a car that just happens to be an electric vehicle. She has to use the brake, which she wants to do. She doesn't want a one pedal drive. She wants to use the brake. The first thing I do when I get in there is hit the paddle, turn on iPedal, but her preference is to drive with the brake. My son, who was 16 years old, I thought would want to drive my Model Y, never drove it before I got rid of it. Didn't want to drive it. He wanted to use the brake. Didn't like it either. Didn't like it. So it just comes down just kind of like, I guess, just what turns you on about a car. I mean, so.
And that's why we need more of them, because see, like my wife loves the one pedal, loves it, but cannot stand FSD, hates full self-driving. I thought she would find it magic that she could get out, hit FSD, and have it take her to, she is also in education, that it could just take her to her school every day and take her back and take her to Target. I thought she would find it amazing. For her, it's the worst part about the car.
Yep. My wife never used it when we had it. When we were on long trips, like, hey, just turn on FSD. She's like, nope. Yep. I'm not even using autopilot. I'm driving with my two hands and my one foot. And that's how we're going down Interstate 40.
So for her, like a standard Model Y, where with all of the better, well, no, not the standard Model Y, I guess, actually, because it doesn't have the upgraded glass and stuff. So no. But yeah, she would never pay for the FSD.
Nope.
It would have no appeal. So, and in your case, like for me, it's a deal breaker if there is, God, what car was it that doesn't have one pedal drive? Is it Volkswagen? Doesn't have one pedal? Yeah. Like for me, that's just a deal breaker for me that it doesn't have a true one pedal drive. And for your wife, that's not at all a one pedal. That's a feature.
She saw the ID4 and she goes, that's a cute car. I could drive that. I'm like, really? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I could drive it, but if you like it, I mean, we can get you one, but yeah.
What did you have, Josh?
Once I've had one pedal drive,
Josh, we need to get you Starlink like Martin, man. You don't have that signal out there in the hills.
That's
poor Josh, man.
I'm in the mountains of North Carolina, so it's fair.
I'm sorry, man. Are you out there visiting our friends in North Carolina? Are you visiting our charging friends, or are you just like somewhere else out there?
I went to Atlanta and back today, so I started at 5 a.m. this morning in Atlanta, and I'm on my way back to East Tennessee now. So I just go through South Carolina and North Carolina.
Oh, nice, very nice. Yeah, I think that'll be the thing about the EV industry, man. And I want to see more people and more options for exactly what we just talked about, right? Is that, between our wives, between your son, between all the different people out there, I don't know if you guys have had a chance to see that race to Vegas that was just out of spec, where they had that was that the ID4 that they just had had such the upgraded navigation, right? And route planning.
That is one thing, dude. That new Volkswagen software
is nice.
So much better than when the cars came out, and that route planning in all of the Volkswagen group vehicles. So it's in the Volkswagens, it's in the Porsches, it's in the Audis, is amazing route planning.
It looks so good, and it's one of my biggest gripes in my Lightning is that the Apple CarPlay or the Apple Maps route planning is so atrociously bad. And I'm watching that video, and I'm like, oh man, like that's so cool. I'm loving it. And then I hear it has no one pedal, and I'm like, it just killed it.
Yep.
It just killed it for me.
It's so much. I mean, we drove we reviewed an old ID4, and it just stopped working as we were driving. Like
we were literally going down the road and just the infotainment system went black
for like
showed
2
the
or 3
Volkswagen
minutes.
logo and took like 2 minutes to boot back up just for no reason. We weren't doing anything on it.
It was glitchy. It was, and we got in this one. The first thing we know is like, man, it's snappier. It's so much better.
It's so cool to hear though, because I love the ID Buzz as such a fun vehicle. I love the ID4 as just a very practical, classic, like everyday vehicle that so many people I think would buy in terms of form factor. That's one of those, very much like the Edge that my wife is coming out of, mid-sized, I don't know if mid-sized SUV, they keep calling those things SUVs, but crossover, whatever you want to call them. But all these vehicles, I keep having gripes with them, like the ID Buzz just can't go far enough. The one pedal is a killer for me. So many cars have such horrible route planning. The pricing on these things where they're all at like $50,000 to $70,000. The ones that are, the Teslas, which I love Tesla. I love them so much, and none of them are made for me. They're, the 3 and the Y are just too small. I don't like the egg shapes. The Cybertruck is just too expensive and too polarizing. I can't have my kids getting yelled at and stuff thrown. I just can't expose them to that. And again, it's just way too expensive for what it is. I love the Lightning. I love it. Absolutely. It's best thing I've ever driven. When I had the opportunity to change EVs, I didn't, because it's still the best truck out there to me. But nobody still is we just need variety. We need more and more variety. We need these guys putting it together. Gravity is a wicked vehicle, right? But dude, that's like you could probably buy a house in Arkansas for the price of a Gravity, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Man, it's just crazy.
Sebastian did.
I bought my house for less than the price of a Gravity.
Yes. So yeah.
And I have an acre of land.
Yeah.
That thing is an engineering marvel, but man, I mean, I'm pinning my hopes on R2 because it's an actual boxy shape, proper, SUV. Hopefully they can still stick with that 45K, which is not cheap, but at least it's not 60.
Yeah.
At least it's not, I'm sure that'll be the smaller battery. We'll see what that smaller battery means.
That's actually what I'm waiting on, because I have a reservation for R2, and I'm waiting to see what that's going to be and what that price is going to be before I trade in the EV6 for another vehicle, because that's pretty much at the top of my list right now. So,
yeah. Well, guys, we're coming up on an hour and a half. So as we wrap up the show, I appreciate you being with us. Let's tell the folks where they can find you and give us your final thoughts. Let's start with Joel.
So, yeah. So thanks for having us on, Chris. This was great. We finally got to connect. I loved meeting you when you came out here and at 10 o'clock at night in Franklin's charging, and maybe not the best area, maybe not in the best area of Little Rock to charge in at 10 o'clock at night, but got to meet you out there. So you can find us on YouTube. You just search the EV Geek Podcast or the EV Geek. I can't remember which one it is.
I think you just search EV Geek. And
you just search an EV Geek. We're the only one on there. Yes, you can also, if you don't like to watch us, you can listen to us, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, same videos we put on YouTube for the most part. Head over to Spotify and Apple Podcast. Just go to any social media channel, type in EV Geek Studios. You'll see our logo pop up. Follow us on there. We make it a point to be really interactive with the people on social media and on our channel as well. And so this has been a great ride. I mean, the Bolt event was awesome. We're excited when it comes out, and like you said, we're hoping to get to review too. And I'll kind of send it to Sebastian for his final thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, really, I'm personally super pumped about the Bolt as someone who has one, and just to see again another cheap entry coming into the market. We're finally, hopefully, maybe, please, getting to the point where we can actually start seeing affordable level EVs actually entering the playing field, and not just another $50,000 crossover. Base model Equinox kind of seemed to kick it off a little bit, $35,000 for that base model Equinox, and now we're getting a $30,000 Bolt. We're getting a $30,000 Leaf. We're getting a $37,000 Model 3. You know, we're finally starting to get some actual movement in towards that lower end. And I'm hoping, you know, this year, 2026 is hopefully going to be the year of a $30,000 EV. Maybe 2027 will be the year of the 20s. You know what I mean? Like, I'm hoping this is just kind of that snowball effect, especially as we see more and more domestic manufacturing of LFP cells come online or other battery chemistries. I'm just kind of hoping this is kind of going to just be a snowball effect. And we'll see. We'll see if our American auto industry can kick it in and make it happen, since they're doing everything in their power to kind of keep the Chinese EVs away if they can try. So hopefully enough of them are starting to realize that they have to compete, that we will start getting more and more actual competition in the space.
Well, make sure you guys check out their YouTube channel. The podcast episodes are awesome. You speaking about the Chinese vehicles, you have a thoroughly entertaining video about a Chinese van, which I thought was amazing. That was
There's actually
cool.
like 15 of them here in Central Arkansas. So Colin has one, and then where he buys them from, I think there's another 12 or 13 sitting on his lot, on that lot too. So it's that's an interesting video. So yeah.
I want you to know that I was 100% genuine that entire time. I did not stop smiling the whole time.
We still don't understand why he bought it. It's still sitting on his lot for $14,000.
It is
No
probably
clue why he bought it.
It is probably going to sit there for a while. But if you were a business that was delivering 15,000 depreciated over 5 years with little maintenance, if you have charging and you're paying, dude, there's a business case to be made for that thing. You just got to cross your fingers that it works,
especially in Little Rock where it's not that big. And
yeah,
if you're delivering flowers, that would be like a perfect vehicle to do it in.
It could totally, man. Totally. So that's a great video. Your first drive in a Cybertruck was fantastic. Your Waymo, of course, the stuff we talked about today with the Bolt is fantastic, guys. Like, that's a huge deal for you. I'm super, super stoked when that happened. You talked about going to the diner. I don't know if I missed that one. Did you do a video, or is that coming on the Tesla diner?
Yet. We've got it recorded. It'll be short. It's not anything super crazy, but so that's kind of a like, cool, we're here, might as well, you know, check it out and get something out of it while we're there.
Yeah, that'll be super cool. And then we'll make sure Josh puts your links and stuff in the description. And then we lost Josh. I don't know if it's just dark, but Josh, are you still with us? Do you want to send us home, or are you going through the hollers? You might be going through the hollers. I just learned the holler word, what that is.
We got to get you in the South more. We got to get
you out of the city.
Yeah.
We need to get you on a rocking porch with a straw hat on and some straw hanging out of your mouth and rocking back and forth. So we got to get you.
Oh, that is great. Yep. Well, we appreciate everybody tuning in for another episode. We are going to try to get ourselves onto a regular cadence. So thank you for bearing with us as we try to make that happen. It's been another fantastic one, guys. Joel and Sebastian, stick with us after we sign off. We'll kind of wrap up off the air. And for everyone else, don't forget to like and subscribe to Turn Down for What, Bo Family EV, and of course the EV Geek Podcast for all your cool, entertaining EV. Oh, we lost Josh entirely. For all your great EV content and your automotive entertainment, we'd love to have you on board. We will see you on the next one.
Thanks for tuning in to Turn Down for What. Make sure you're subscribed with your notifications on to tune in to more EV news and updates. See you next time.